All right, guys, so we have another sad and controversial story to talk about here today that involves a retired police officer, Mr. Kevin Nishita, out of Oakland, who unfortunately lost his life trying to protect a news crew, Kron 4 News, from being robbed while covering smash and grab break-ins, basically robberies that was going on in the area. So without further ado, I'm actually going to let the news station themselves explain to you guys what happened, and then I'll give my take. Take a look.
Thanks for joining us here on Kron On. I'm Noelle Bello. We have some devastating news to share with you today. Our Kron 4 security guard who was shot in Oakland earlier this week has died from his injuries. The guard was on assignment with one of our Kron 4 News reporters. Kron On's Camila Barco is here with the very latest details. Camila.
Well, Noelle, the Kron 4 security guard is Kevin Nishita. He died at Oakland Highlands Hospital earlier this morning. Nishita went into surgery after being shot on Wednesday while on the job. However, this morning we are learning he passed away due to his injuries. Take a look. This is Kevin Nishita. He was an armed guard for Star Protection Agency based out of Oakland. He worked for San Jose Police. He worked for the San Jose Police Department from 2001 to 2012. He was also a former police officer in Hayward, Colma, and Oakland, and for the Oakland Housing Authority. Now, Nishita leaves behind a wife, 2 children, and 3 grandchildren. The shooting happened just before 12:30 Wednesday afternoon in Oakland, near the intersection of 14th and Harrison. That's near the 12th Street BART station and Lake Merritt. But take a good look at this car. Oakland police have just released this photo of the suspect vehicle. It is a white 4-door Acura sedan with a sunroof and no front license plate. The car is likely a 2004 to 2008 Acura TL. Now, Nishita was with one of our Kron 4 News reporters on Wednesday. They were covering a story in Oakland about a recent smash and grab break-in at a business in the area. While they were doing their job, someone attempted to steal our reporter's camera equipment. Our guard Nishita was shot in the stomach, and our reporter was not physically hurt. Now, Nishita, like I said, went into surgery, but he died this morning. Now, it is common practice for Bay Area television stations, including Kron 4 News, to send our crews out with security guards while covering stories. And in the past, Bay Area news stations have been targeted for their camera equipment. But as of this morning, there's no word on a suspect description. Police are still searching for the person or people responsible. If you happen to know any information, call Oakland Police. There is a $32,500 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Noelle, back to you.
Camila, thank you for that live report, and our condolences to Kevin's family and friends as they deal with his passing this morning. It is definitely heartbreaking for all of us.
All right, guys, so you seen that, you heard that. Obviously, it's an incredibly sad situation. Second sad situation story I've talked about today. But, you know, before I get into my opinion, I want to just read a little bit from some friends that wrote about him on social media. Mr. Will Tran says, Kevin Nishita, he was our friend. He was an officer and a gentleman in every sense of the word. I literally texted him yesterday telling him if he needs anything, let me know. This isn't fair. There are killers still out there who rip him from his family. Then you also have Omar Perez. I'm at a loss of words, praying for his family and loved ones and my colleagues. May he rest in peace. My shock and fear from the day of the shooting are back all over again. I don't know where to begin. I'm so angry that such a tragedy happened to a man whose everyday job was to protect others. Rest in peace, Kevin. Thank you for your service. Kevin was genuine, humble, and always did the job with a smile on his face. He was our private security guard that kept our team and numerous other Bay Area reporters safe while we are in the field. I think that's what she means. Kevin will be missed. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this is an incredibly sad situation. And the first thing this reminded me of, guys, when I saw this story was David Dorn. Literally, that's the first thing that reminded me of. Because during the whole, BLM protest and whatnot, David Dorn was defending a friend's business, right? Now, I believe he was a retired police officer at the time who was defending a business, a friend's business, and ended up getting shot and killed while thugs and criminals were trying to loot the business, okay? And when that happened to him, literally everybody ignored it, right? Nobody talked about it. But at the same time, all we heard about is Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. That's all we heard about. But when it came to David Dorn's black life, right, a black life that, in my opinion, was overwhelmingly a positive contributor to his community and, you know, died basically in the line of duty trying to protect his community, crickets. Nobody cared. And again, this situation kind of reminds me of that as well. It's like, you know, this guy, Kevin Nishita, he looks to be Asian, right? He looks very Asian. I'm assuming that he's Asian, just based off he looked. And if I'm wrong, then, hey, you know, I apologize for being wrong on that. But he was protecting a news crew that was covering smash and grab lootings that I've talked about a lot on this channel that's going on in San Francisco, right? And the Bay Area in general. They're covering that, and then they're getting robbed trying to cover other people getting robbed, right? Armed robbery. Guy's trying to take the camera equipment, and he ends up dying in the line of duty trying to protect them. And I guarantee you, just like David Dorn, nobody's ever going to know who this guy was. Because we have a society where people who are positive contributors, who are good role models in their communities, right? These people never, ever, ever get national recognition. Never, right? You will never see anybody protest over somebody like Kevin Nishita or David Dorn. You'll never see it. These people are not going to be out in the streets riding and protesting over that. But they'll ride and protest over criminals, right? Imagine Kevin Nishita, if the situation was reversed, where, you know, he had to arrest one of these robbers, okay, and subdue him on the ground, and in the process of him being subdued, he happens to die. Or if Kevin Nishita shoots one of these guys, I guarantee you that would be national news, right? Especially if there's a video to go along with it that doesn't necessarily look favorable. It'd be national news. They'd be all over it. But again, because it's somebody that's overwhelmingly a positive contributor to society, that's not a criminal, you're not going to hear about it. But at the same time, just like they'll tell you Black Lives Matter, but ignore David Dorn, they'll tell you stop Asian hate, right? We care about Asian folks. What about this guy? Does he not fit the description of an Asian life that we should care about? Probably not, right? And the reason why is because he was killed by people that were actively committing crimes, right? That probably live a life of crime, and he wasn't killed by a white person. That's why, right? If he was killed by a white person, it would be national news. But because, again, he's being killed by a certain group of people who are committing these crimes, who are living a life of crime, swept under the rug. Nobody cares. And to me, I think that's the most frustrating part about a lot of this stuff. It's like people that are innocent, that lose their lives unjustly due to thugs and criminals, they never get recognized. I mean, look at the Waukesha tragedy. The media stopped talking about it after the day. It's done. We won't hear about that at all. Dozens of people injured. I think about 6 people now, 6 or 7 people killed, including a child, grandmas, elderly folks. Won't hear about it ever again. It will be swept under the rug. And the reason why, unfortunately, is because there's no race angle to it, right? There's no race angle to it because the person that committed the crime was a black dude with dreadlocks. So it's a race angle, but it's not a race angle that the mainstream liberal media wants, right? They don't like that angle. So again, they ignore it. They sweep it under the rug. Guarantee you, if it was a white guy that did that, there'd be questions about white supremacy all day long and so-called white domestic terrorists in this country. That's what they'd be talking about. But when it comes to the crime, the thugs and criminals, no. Don't talk about them. You're a racist, right? If you talk about them. Doesn't matter if these people, a vast majority of the people that are being harmed by these people are so-called minorities and people of color. Don't matter. That doesn't matter. Just know if you talk about it, if you call it looting, you're a racist, right? This is what they're talking about in San Francisco instead of talking about why are they not prosecuting more of these people, throwing these people in jail, putting them where they belong, getting them off the streets, getting them out of society. And speaking of these San Francisco politicians, you know, all these politicians out here that are not doing anything about it, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the DA, Because this hasn't just been a recent thing, these robberies. This has been going on forever in that area. Forever. It's been going on forever. Years. All those people should be held responsible when this happens. This is on them. Because those people, I guarantee you, that tried to rob this camera crew have probably tried to rob other places as well. They probably done this more than once. Maybe some of these people have been in and out of jail. Maybe they've been caught, let go, because they want to be soft on crime, and now they're back on the streets doing it again because they know they can get away with it. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, man, you know, I feel bad for the people that have to live through this. You know, even though, again, some of those people that voted for it, right? I mean, again, these are your politicians. You voted for it. At the same time, I do feel bad for those who may not have voted for it, or, you know, that are really suffering the consequences of this stuff. I really do. I really do. But, you know, again, it's just sad to me that, you know, this story right here won't get any national news attention. Nobody would care about this. And this is why I always try to highlight these situations on my channel, because nobody else would do it, right? So, you know, I have my own platform, so therefore I'm going to do it myself. So that being said, rest in peace to Mr. Kevin Nishita. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.